Merry Christmas to everybody again. I'm back. This is Rico Limbaugh. So earlier I was at dinner with my family and the subject of ICE came up and why I am such a huge fan and supporter of immigration and customs enforcement. Well, I'm a supporter because of the results. Now, right now, well, let's look at the United States as a whole. A majority of the murder and violent crime in this country come from just certain select American blue, typically blue cities. Chicago, Memphis, New Orleans, Los Angeles. These are some of the most violent places in the country. ICE has literally been sent directly into these cities, and Trump also brought in the National Guard. The reason I support ICE and the National Guard being in our cities is because we now have the results. If you think about it, some of the critics, statistically, some of Trump's own critics are only still alive to this day because of Trump's implemented strategy of sending in our law enforcement and our military to protect citizens. There are people who are only alive right now because if you think about it, that's a 20% drop in murder. That's 1/5. Do you know how many lives that is that have been saved since Trump came into office? Because since the National Guard has been rolling into these cities, this is from the New York Post. The nationwide murder rate fell dramatically in 2025. In what's likely the largest single-year drop ever recorded, according to new crime data. Killings in the United States plummeted nearly 20% compared to last year, following a COVID spike in violence, according to the Real-Time Crime Index. In total, there were 5,912 murders recorded in the United States between January and October, compared to 7,000 in the same period the year before. Thousands of Americans are still alive to this day because of Trump policies. And it is a fairly remarkable drop in crime, according to one of our data analysts, Jeff Asher, noted. It almost certainly fell at a historic clip in 2025, led by the largest one-year drop in murder ever recorded. And this exact drop coincides with the implementation of National Guard and ICE and customs enforcement. I warn people about these illegals because, well, I've known them. I live in Los Angeles. If you're an illegal, that means you're in this country. You have no fingerprints on record. You don't have a birth certificate. You don't have a social. We don't even know your real name. Do you even have an official name? Nobody knows. So these people can literally commit crimes like murder and just go back across the border. And how are we going to find them? We didn't know who they were here. We don't know who they are there. Do you think law enforcement they can read minds? You think they're psychics? You think they're the Avengers? They're not. So that's a huge security gap where you're just letting strangers in because they can do anything they want and they can get away with it. That's why they feel so brazen with their crimes and their violence, because there's no way to hold them accountable. You don't even know who they are. They're not on records even living in your country. They're here illegally to begin with. When I go to other countries, I have to go through something called customs. What if I circumvent customs and I'm a criminal or I'm a terrorist? Well, then how would anybody know that I'm a terrorist? When you go through customs, they check your background, they check your passport, and especially depending on what country you're going to go into, they're making sure you're not a felon, you don't have warrants, like when you're trying to go to Canada. But everything in the United States has just been so lax, we just let anybody in. Then it could be in a car accident, it could be a batch robbery, a home invasion, and you die. They can just get on the freeway and leave, cross the border, no questions asked, and you have no idea who they are, and then they just come back in 6 months. That's why we have to shore up our borders, and we have to remove them all. People keep telling me, "Oh, do you see all the immigration? Do you see all the immigration crackdowns? I want to see more, a lot more, and I think I'm going to get my wish. I'm helping recruit. We need more men and women in ICE and on the National Guard protecting our country." This positive trend includes more than a 20% decline in New York City, 28% drop in Chicago, nearly 28% plunge in DC, where the president oversaw a massive crime crackdown. Do you see that? New York, where we've already sent in ICE, Chicago, where we sent in ICE and the National Guard, and DC, where we sent in the National Guard, ICE, and we're doing more law enforcement just locally. You know, Trump actually took the police force over from the mayor. So a 28% drop in our capital, which was actually one of the nation's top murder capitals. Okay, do you see the results of what ICE is doing? Do you see the results of what the National Guard is doing? They are already saving lives. This is the end of the year. We have the numbers. There are people that are literally only alive right now leaving negative comments about Trump. They're only alive because Trump made it possible for them to still be alive, because someone that they deported or arrested already was going to be the person to kill you. There's people that are going to be listening to my voice. There are people that are going to watch this video, but they're only alive still to listen and watch this video because Trump ramped up law enforcement, ICE enforcement, and administered the National Guard to these cities. You're only alive because Trump made it possible for you to still be here. Now, if you want to call that the grace of God, you call that what you want to, but we are apparently the chosen people. Because how do we get so lucky to have a leader that's going to just turn off the comments and do what needs to be done without worrying about the critics? And the critics are criminals. Think about it. The critics who are writing, the people in the media that are always slamming him for basically trying to protect citizens, they're criminals. They run cover for people that are doing hate crimes and that are doing home invasions. They don't want to report on them unless it's a white male that's the criminal, because it'll destroy their whole narrative. Remember, the whole point of all of this stuff is just to discourage and kind of demoralize the white majority community in this country. Because if you're trying to take over a country, they're the ones who are going to fight and die for this country. They're the ones who literally are the custodians of this land, of our government. So you want to demoralize them and make them feel less than, and you want to encourage others to attack them and to basically say anything they want to about them, make them feel bad. Apparently, they're susceptible to shaming. We're having that issue. And that's why it was very important for J.D. Vance to come out and say, we're done apologizing for being white. Because it's all just mental manipulation to degrade and make the country weaker so that it can be taken over. As of today, say the Chinese or the Russians rolled into California or rolled into New York City, blacks and gays would literally jump on their tanks and twerk, and they would help them try to find white conservative Americans to arrest or to try to kill. That's what I mean by those are the same people that are controlling the media, telling you that law enforcement is wrong, enforcing our immigration laws is wrong, using the National Guard to help protect citizens from a criminal element that just majority is black Americans. That's wrong. So basically, if the person committing the crime is black, it's racist to arrest them. That's the message they're putting out to Americans. And we reject it. That's not going to work. We're rejecting it flat out. We want law and order restored. You're not going to be able to manipulate us with all that color and racial bullshit. DEI is over. And you know what? Trump actually just did some strikes in Africa today. So if you really hate Trump that bad and you want to fight, why don't you go get on a fucking airplane, fly to Nigeria, and go fight Trump? Let's see if you're a coward or not. If you're really serious and you hate the man, you hate our laws, you hate our ICE and custom, okay, show us. Fight us. You can go fly over there to Nigeria right now. The U.S. military is bombing. Why don't you go over there and fight against Trump? But you're a coward. You're not going to do it because you're not serious. You're just talking. Talk. You could actually, why don't you pull up on them? Fly to Nigeria and go defend the Africans, the terrorists. Go defend them from Trump. But until you're ready to do that, we're going to keep making sure our cities are safe. Look at the next statistic. Murder in Los Angeles County also fell by 19%. 19 in my home city. 1/5 of the murder is stopped. Do you know how many people are saved now? But what happened a few months ago in LA? Well, don't you remember the videos from 6 months ago when Trump put belt to ass? Remember, we had the military pull up in MacArthur Park, scared the living daylights out of every illegal west of the Echo Park River, west of the Lake Echo Park, all the way to Silver Lake, all the way to MacArthur Park. You don't remember that? I do, because I went back to LA after. Completely different city. I didn't see illegals. I barely saw Mexican people. I seen a bunch of white and Asian people in downtown LA. Like 3 gay black people. That was it. Literally cleaned up the city. And a lot of people self-deported because they're like, look, I got kids. They're going to kick this door in eventually and they're going to arrest us. And then my kids are screwed. So the smart thing for me to do, take the money from the government that they're offering. They're going to give you a couple $1,000. You go home and then you can reapply to come here legally. But if we have to deport you, you're fucked. You're banned for life. It's over. Se acabó. And a lot of people have been smart in LA and they've left. So because they've left, not only is our crime down, the rents are down. I seen an apartment that was $3,300. It's $2,600 now. And this is all within the same year. It was $3,300 in January. December, it's already went down $700. I love ICE. I love the National Guard. And we have to put belt to ass. Think about it. These cities have been out of control for years, for generations. Because of illegal immigration, that was where it gave the rise to black gangs and gang violence. The illegals came in, took the jobs. They put the blacks in the streets. The blacks became gangs and just started terrorizing their communities and the country. And then we're filling up the prisons and filling up the graveyards, all because we don't have anywhere to work and we have nothing to do at all. So when you ask me why I support ICE and the National Guard, it's because we have the results now. I've seen it. See, when I tell people I'm America first, that means I'm Americans first. America is the people. My people who are Americans, conservatives, we're benefiting from removing the illegal element contagion in this country. Now things are starting to fall back in line. Americans are starting to benefit. But historically, for the last 40 years, we've been on the short end of the stick. Now we're coming first, and we're not going to give this back up over to we're not going to do that. You know, I remember when Trump was president before, we were exporting energy. Soon as Biden becomes president, now we're going back to having to buy oil. But we had so much, we were exporting it, we were selling it. Imagine having to go back to buying. You think we're ready to just give up all the advancements and all the benefits? Prices are down. Gas is down. You think we're gonna so you want to give it all? You want it all to go back up just so you can say a Democrat's in power? For what? What's the benefit? You know, too many people don't understand civics. They don't understand that this is a negotiation, and they're voting for these people because the person's gay or because they're black. They're not even saying, "Hey, so what are you offering me?" They're not even asking for anything. That's why they shouldn't be allowed to vote. If it was up to me, only property owners would be allowed to vote in this country because, well, you're not invested in this country. You're just here. You're not doing anything. So why do you have a say so? You shouldn't. What can you even have constructive to say? You can't even fix your own shit. All you can do is give the country bad advice because you don't have the results to your personal self to even give good advice. Now, if you're a property owner, you're a business owner, obviously you're doing something right. You're being productive and constructive. Shit, today we'll let somebody who's homeless, blind, mentally ill get a ballot and decide the future of our society. I don't like it. I'm against it. So it says a 7.5 decrease in New Orleans. You know, the activities in New Orleans have only been going on for like 2 months. 2 months we've been there with the ICE and the guard. 2 months and it's already down seven. These are extremely Democrat blue minority black cities where they're doing all the killing. Trump is saving black people from each other. Trump is literally saving black people from themselves. And they're the number one people rejecting him, except not the ones over in Nigeria who are begging and on their knees praying, thank you, Trump, for bombing the terrorists that are killing all the Nigerian Christians. It just shows you who's in the wrong. You can see who's in the wrong, and it's clear as day. The data tracking site doesn't log manslaughter, self-defense, or accidental killings as murder. By contrast, the murder rate declined from 15% from 2023 to 2024, according to the data. So this is even a greater jump than the previous year before. This is amazing. This is amazing. More Americans are staying alive right now. There are more Americans that woke up this morning and lived their life another day because of the actions and efforts of our President Trump and then ICE and then the National Guard just being deployed. There are people that are going to wake up and see their kids and they had Christmas. There are people that wished Trump would have did this last year and so they could have seen Christmas. I wish we would have done it sooner. But you know what? When you're not putting America first, that's what happens. People get killed and people suffer. So we're going to do the right thing going forward. There's no such thing as black excellence. Let's go through the comments. Yep. Trump 47's model is shaping up to be hindsight is 2020. Absolutely. Do you believe that they will receive 1,000? Really, I don't. Well, how about this? When it comes in, if it comes in, reject it, rip the check up, tell Trump you don't want his dirty money, and then or use that money, use 1,000 to buy a plane ticket and move to Nigeria, move to Africa, go live there, and then use that money to buy ammo, and then you can fight our military and you can fight with the Nigerians against us. They have they're actually recruiting for terrorists. So you can go over there and you can just fight against Trump. You know, you don't have to deal with them. Hello. Don't forget, yeah, DEI, that's over. We're done with it. I'm glad I talked about that too. I just had a bro, the LGTB stuff is out of control on YouTube. We're not going to read that. Yeah, I'm going to get off your page. You're spreading rhetoric and lying. I don't, okay. You know, we have a convicted. No, we don't actually. It turns out that those were overturned. And you can't even name what they did was they took one misdemeanor charge and they repeated it 34 times. It's not a real charge. Now, if somebody came to me and said, Rico, Trump was charged 34 times for kidnapping, rape, murder, home invasion. If you can name off 34 felonies he committed, I'll take you seriously. If you're telling me there was a paperwork classification issue and furtherance of another crime, and when I ask you what the other crime is, you won't tell me, then I'm literally, luckily you're telling me over the internet, not in person, because I would really make you upset in person because you're an embarrassment. You're an idiot. How has Trump made our Christmas better? He only made it more. That's not true. There are people that are only alive today to see Christmas because of Trump. Can you not read the screen? Murders are down nearly 20%, likely the largest single year drop ever. You are probably only still alive right now because of the grace of Trump, because Trump removed the people that were going to murder you in the last few months. Trump removed them. Trump saved you. And now you're ungrateful because you are spoiled. And you're just an angry person. You hate your life. You hate how you are, and you hate the results you have. And Trump has the results, and he's able to prove this. And then you have someone like myself that can literally read you the articles and explain to you in detail how, and your only rebuttal is something nonsensical. But I'm open for hearing anything anybody has to say that can prove this argument wrong. There's nothing chaotic. If you're gay or you're a pedophile, it would seem things are chaotic because you feel the pressure from the police and you're worried about your actions being held accountable, and you're no longer going to be protected. Technically, for a lot of pedophiles, there was a huge, massive push to normalize sex with children and affirm it instead of and decriminalize it like they did in California. So you feel like things are chaotic because that's no longer going to happen where you live. I get it, but that's a personal problem. Overall, we don't like pedophiles here. You probably have to find. I keep telling people, repatriate yourself to another country where you're happy with the policies. That will never be the law of the land. It's only the law of the land in California for now. The next governor is going to reject that. And also, anybody who passes laws like that should be put in prison. It's called SB Bill 145, where they decriminalize older men being caught having sex with underage children. So, and you don't have to register as a sex offender in California. If that's troubling you, then yes, this will seem like Trump made things chaotic, but it's really not. Things are actually more stable, and people are alive now who otherwise would have already been dead, including you. If it's 1/5 of the total murder rate is down, easily anybody who's listening to this, including me, was likely saved because of the actions of Donald Trump this year. I'll just put that out there. You don't know. It's an illegal immigrant that was going to be drunk driving tonight that was going to smack you and your family on a fucking holiday. But he's gone now. Yeah, Trump removed him. So you and your family, your ungrateful ass and your family, you guys are only still here because of the actions Trump took. You should say thank you. God bless you for telling the truth. Trump may not be perfect. No one is, but the man has significantly saved so many and made life better for all. Absolutely. Absolutely. And God bless you as well. And a Merry Christmas. We're not doing that happy holidays bullshit. We're Christians. Merry Christmas to all. You know, we like other people's religion, but we're America first, Americans first. And just because we didn't enshrine it where it needs to be written down, we all know what base foundation our country is made from. You don't like it, you can get the fuck out. And I happily tell people that in person as well. I'm not just telling you that online. What happened? Yeah, he's doing that too. But listen, what happened to Trump's original plan? Why do you want only the violent illegals? Being here as an illegal means you have the potential to be violent as well. You're already a criminal. You already criminally trespass into our country, which already means you have a blatant disrespect for our laws. You don't respect our laws. Why should we allow you to stay if you don't respect our laws? Trump is going after the worst of the worst, and then we're working our way down to the best of the best. It doesn't matter. If you're here illegally, you're in the wrong. I live in another country right now. I've lived in 7 other countries in my life. I've never been able to overstay my visa in a country and just think I can just go on with my day. Open up a business, get an apartment, and just say, screw it. So you know what's crazy? You guys will respect every other country's laws, but you don't want to respect my country's laws. That means me and you are at odds with each other. Me and you are not friends. You'll disrespect my country, but you want me to respect your home country and these other places. You can go to hell. We're not doing that. I don't like double standards. And as an American, I'm not going to respect your request for those. That's not a lot of assumptions. And if Trump's your nightmare, it's because of the whole crackdown on pedophiles. And yeah, you should have nightmares about that. We're coming for you. Just FYI, Mr. Jur 619. I've never seen so many people saying they hate our country, but they won't freaking leave, even when they are offered money. Exactly. You know, it's crazy. You know, I wake up and I see black people all over the news every day talking about how racist America is, how oppressed they are. Look. They let these people park here, but I can't park. Look, if it's that bad over here for you, why are you here? Leave. Listen, escape. How about that? Don't even leave. Escape. If the country is racist, you're choosing to leave in a racist country. That doesn't say nothing about the country. That says something more about you. Do you understand? That's like if I go to a gay club and I sit there and I say, I fucking hate being in this gay club. It's sweaty, smells like rubber everywhere. It's fucking guys in tutus and leotards. And they're like, Rico, why don't you just leave and go to somewhere where you're going to be happy? And I'm like, I refuse, because this club was my land. So I want to stay here in this gay club. And I just got baby oil and fucking Astroglide just dripping everywhere, all down my face. And it's like, it's in my mouth. I'm like, oh, there's just fucking oil everywhere. But I won't leave. That means there's something about me that's wrong. It's not the club. There's nothing wrong with the country. It's something wrong with you for wanting to remain in a country that you don't agree with its policies. Be the change that you're asking for. Go somewhere that you like. Don't stay here and complain. You're wasting your time and you're wasting your life as well. And you're going to just end up going to jail because you're going to want to have court on the side of the road because you don't respect the laws either. And then you're screwed. So you're better off just evacuating. Load up your family and run as far away from Trump as possible. Matter of fact, you were saying the country was racist way before Trump. Get as far away from the United States as possible and go be happy. When is Trump giving Americans back some money? I don't know. How long did it take for Biden to give you some money? Or matter of fact, show me your check stub from when Kamala broke you off. And if they didn't, then don't ask me shit about that. Because don't demand more from Trump than you demanded from other politicians in the past. It's crazy. I saw somebody complaining about Trump speaking to the press, and I was like, Biden didn't speak at all. He literally was rushed out of the room and they kicked your asses out. So if you didn't demand those same things from Biden, don't demand stuff from Trump. We don't have time for that anymore. And because we saw how you guys dealt with Biden, you're gonna deal with Trump the same way going forward. We're not going to let you pretend like, oh no, Biden was just transparent and coherent and talk. No, he wasn't. He barely talked to you goddamn people. He barely talked to the country. We really don't know what was going on. Mr. Autopin, get the hell out of here. You were at a Diddy party. I absolutely have been to several. I went to the one at Club Love in Washington, D.C. I went to the HBCU after parties that he did in Atlanta. I've been to a Diddy party in California. Bro, he threw amazing parties with it was like beautiful scenery. Everybody, celebrities there. You'll meet the most beautiful women there. I have absolutely been to Diddy parties. They were fucking fun as hell. And I actually watched the Diddy trial, and I can't believe I let idiots like you convince me that he was gay and a pedophile for all these years. And then we go to trial, and people that are trying to bury him had zero evidence of any of that. So you know what that means? That I was dead wrong, and I should have apologized. So now what I do is I explain that case to people when they ask. It's stupidity, the left for me. Won't read, won't research or fact check, gather data from to back their claims. Just dependent on left politicians who know that the side is ignorant. So no, absolutely. Jasmine Crockett is one of those politicians. I was asking someone, what has she ever offered you, or what has Jasmine Crockett ever accomplished for you? And because they were like, yeah, she's going to run for Senate. I said, cool. What have been her results thus far? Well, all she's really good at is, insulting white people and insulting Trump. Is that what you need from a politician? And maybe you should go get your head checked. If that's your threshold for what you consider a politician should be, then maybe you have deeper issues you need to go. Maybe you need to find God. Maybe you have an issue with racism that you need to deal with. Maybe you have an inferiority complex that's rampant to the point where you hate people who you feel are superior than you. People that don't even know you exist, but you envy them to the point that you hate them. That's a common problem here in the country. And yes, it's our media that pushes a lot of those narratives and create this false reality, unfortunately, for a lot of these American residents. And I'm noticing this culture war is growing. I'm not complaining. Words come out of his mouth. I'm not sure what that means. Are you serious? Trump isn't sound. You had a president that couldn't figure out how to get off the stage. Man, don't you remember the good old days of Biden? Let me tell you why I liked Biden. He would really talk shit to black people. He couldn't stand these fucking people. I remember when he was watching the black caucus, whatever the hell they are, and he was like, "You guys need to figure out how to get along with the Hispanics who make up a larger majority than you do." He checked these, bro. I loved it because see, they're the only group that can't go anywhere. So they have to get treated like shit. They have to get pissed on and shit on. They have to be like the like humiliation ritual. They live it every single day. Did you guys even realize that? I don't think the whole country doesn't realize there's only one community that daily goes through a humiliation ritual because they don't have a choice. They can't all of a sudden become Republicans. They can't just become Trump supporters. They have to be Democrats. So that means they don't even have the right to vote. Do you know that? If you have the right to vote, but you can only vote one way, that means you don't have the right to vote. That means you can't choose to go. You don't have the right to vote. Also, the illegals cancel out your votes anyway. So you really don't even exist anymore. Technically, nobody has to. Why do you think we can get rid of DUI? Why do you think we can get rid of DEI? We don't have to cater to you anymore. We don't have to. Why do you think we don't have affirmative action no more? We don't have to be nice to you no more for you to vote. We saw what you would do when you had the chance, and what you did was try to torpedo the country. We're not paying attention to you. We don't have to suck up to you no more. We can just fire you all. Hundreds of thousands. Just bye, get the fuck out. You're not even a part of the culture. You don't like white people who actually own these companies. So why should we hire you? You don't even like the culture of the company. You don't like your coworkers. So go work. So go to hell. You don't have to work with us no more. We don't have to kiss your ass. So that's why I love that we can sit here and have these conversations. It's beautiful. Trump is working hard at starting World War III. That's false, because World War III would have started. If Trump was trying to start it, he would have went into the Ukraine against the Russians in March of this year. But he pulled back and he decided not to. And to show the Russians that we don't want to fight, we actually we're no longer supporting the Zelensky regime. And even though we said we were going to still keep sending them weapons, we've stopped. And we're not even sending them nowhere near as much money as we used to. So Trump saved us from World War III. Venezuela is not World War III. That's us slapping our little cousin in the back of the head when we caught him stealing from the corner store to teach him a lesson. That's not World War III. Let's see here. Look in the mirror, young man. I think you're colorblind. I don't understand how. I know exactly what color I am, and I don't base my decisions or anything on color. That is idiotic. That doesn't make any sense. Still no StreamYard link. Two parties, same birds. Yeah, I don't believe that. Use OBS, bro. Easy as shit. You say we a lot. Yeah, I do. I'm an American. That's how we talk. We. I guess I'm French, right? No, they don't. They hate you. You don't know what they think. You don't even know them. So how can you speak for them? You hate me. They don't. Matter of fact, you don't even know who they are. You don't even know who you are. But you hate me. So you can only speak for yourself. You can't speak for other people, because if you could, then you would be able to know when your own people are about to commit crimes and murder, and you would be able to save yourself. You guys wouldn't have such a high murder rate, but you're not psychics. It's crazy. You can only read white minds, but you can't read black ones. I'm just not buying that you're a psychic. I think you're full of shit. So life goes on. For losing affirmative action, don't want to work for a lame company, then don't. Go work for Tyler Perry, or I don't know, go get on one of them Real Housewives shows. I mean, there's plenty of stuff to do. The baddies, you can go do anything, reality TV, go work somewhere else. Just don't beg white people for jobs or for help. Take care of yourself. Be your own independent person. There's prominent black people. Ask one of them for help. You don't have to deal with white people. If you want to start your own separate society, you could literally just leave the United States and go to a country that's majority people that look like you. You have plenty of options. You have 190 different ones. Somebody else will take you in. NATO is against the Soviet. That's the alliance. There are no more Soviets. The Soviets have been gone since 1991. That's when the Soviet Union fell. Russia is a completely different country, different governance, different policies, different rules. Listening to you is very refreshing. Thank you very much. You know what, Tina? I do appreciate that. It's Christmas night, and I'm grateful to be able to sit here in the greatest country on earth and talk to you about what makes it great. I'll be honest with you, I wasn't always a patriot. I used to live in Europe. I used to live in France. I lived in Germany. I lived in Amsterdam. And I've lived in other countries, and I speak the languages. And I used to think to myself, every country is free. Every country has freedom. Everybody can speak. They don't have guns, but they can do everything else, right? Like, they're just equal to us. We're not better than them. We're not better. We're the same. And then when the lockdown came and I saw what their tyrannical governments in Europe did to my friends and relatives over there, while I was here in the United States vacationing, I was actually scheduled to fly back March 15th of 2020, and my ticket was canceled back home to Frankfurt. And I literally watched what they did to my friends in Australia, under the guise of public safety during the lockdown. I saw what they did to my friends in Germany, France, all over Europe, the UK. I watched everybody lose their businesses as progress. And then here in the United States, yeah, I could go to clubs and parties but I had to leave my home state of California. I remember, right, I was getting on an elevator in LA, and there's a window in the elevator that looks out to the street, but the window was covered in propaganda from the CDC, health organizations, and it's just lying to you about this imaginary virus and how to avoid the air. How to fucking avoid the air. Remember, they said this was an airborne thing, so I'm like, okay, what if a homeless guy fucking farts while he's crossing the street and I drive through the fart? Do I die? But then the homeless never died, so then who's dying? Well, Rico, the homeless have stronger immune systems than us because they eat feces when they eat, tacos and food. And I'm like, that's your logic? You think homeless people are healthier than you? Then why don't you live outside too? Like I said, everyone's an idiot when you ask them questions. So that's why I do these conversations, because you can kind of just blow people's bullshit out of the water by just asking for more information. Just, do you mind explaining? And I do this. This is how like my relationships go bad too, because a woman would tell me something nonsensical and I'll say, please explain? And they can't ever explain some of their bullshit. So they just start crying. Like, I'm breaking up with you. You're an asshole. Because I asked for details. And that's what people, when someone's trying to scam you or play you, they don't want you to ask questions. Why do you think they want to shut up Candace Owens so bad? The UK is a wrap. It's gone. And it's gone. It's still the same name for now, but it'll be United Kingdomistan in about a year or two. It's over. The invasion's already happened. But beautiful thing is there's other countries in Europe that blocked the invasion, didn't take in any immigrants, have weapons on their border, and they're trying to be invaded. There's 4 of those countries. The United States and Trump. I'm going to do a video tomorrow. We're actively looking to create relationships with those nations, and we're cutting off the rest of Europe because ideologically, we're not even the same. We're closer to the Russians and the Europeans. They are locking up their own citizens for speaking out against immigration. We're not friends. We're not friends. They're locking up teachers in Scotland that won't call little boys girls. We're not friends with them. We're not on the same page. We're done. Yeah, we speak English, but that doesn't matter. Everyone speaks English nowadays. My wife and I have never gotten a vaccine, never caught COVID. Well, that's pretty easy to avoid since COVID doesn't exist. And I think everybody knows that by now. It's actually public knowledge. I said this years ago and got kicked off the internet. I'm one of those people that got banned off. I'm talking about removed from every platform, nuked from orbit. For just having general conversations nowhere near as spicy as this one. So you and your wife did the right thing. And the fact is, your wife listened to you. Or you had a trustworthy wife that you listened to. But you guys were both on the same page. I have a friend of mine. He married a woman from Thailand. She was so scared. And he told her, and I told her, and he told her, don't do it. He didn't take it, but she did. She's having on again, off again health issues. And they don't want to tell me, but they think she has cancer. It's crazy. So at my family's dinner tonight, we were talking about my aunt. She came from California, and there's like four or five people that we know. They're all dying from different types of cancer. And I asked everyone, I'm like, oh, really? So, and they're all under 40. And I didn't want to be an asshole. I don't want to be that guy at dinner. Okay. But they all know what time it is when it comes to me. I'm from a conservative family, but there were a couple liberals in there, but the liberals can't fight. So these are going to be some short conversations because the backyard is right here. So everybody, so they're not going to, if they feel a certain type of way, they're better off leaving than getting into it with me. That's just not going to work. But my aunt was like, yeah, such and such has leukemia. And said, such and such has leukemia. And then my other friend, she has prostate. And then the other guys, and I'm like, they're all under 40. And I was like, how long they been battling these cancers? And she's like, oh man, about a year and a half ago. And I was like, don't you remember what they did the summer before that? 3 years ago? Don't you remember what people did 3 years ago? Remember when Biden said, my patience is running thin? My nigga, who are you talking to? Fuck you and your patience. Mine is running thin too. Of you guys with your propaganda and your bullshit. We're not taking your experimental medicine. And some people did. And they are dying. It's a lot of them. And these cancer treatments are brutal. And just to survive it, you got to have your organs removed. And then the pharmaceutical companies that sold you the vaccine, you got to go back to them for the medicine to keep you alive. Like they turned you into a permanent customer. I get it. If this is, as far as business is concerned, it was an amazing business move. It's an amazing business move. I mean, think about it. You can't preach for them to be shut down because you need those pharmaceutical companies that poisoned you. You also need them to still stay alive. When I talk about the ultimate hustle, oh man, I'll be honest. I'm fairly proud of these pharmaceutical companies because they pulled off something nobody else could. Think about it. If mechanics could have stopped Elon Musk from coming out with Tesla, there'd be more money in their business because Teslas don't have an engine. So if you're a guy who repairs engines, that's not going to be good for you. So if you're a pharmaceutical company that is literally making medicine that people are going to need because you poisoned them, you're creating your own customers. I mean, let's just be honest. Yeah, it's fucked up. And, all of our friends and family members are dying. But on the other hand, it was rather brilliant. Will we not say, yeah, I know it sucks people are dying, but if we remove the emotional part, it was fairly clever. But it was fairly obvious, too. I mean, you let these people inject you. Didn't you know what's crazy? Everybody wants to bring up the fact that Trump's a felon, right? But so is Pfizer. Pfizer's been convicted of 30 felonies also. But you still trusted them and let them inject you. So nobody who took the vaccine can ever bring up Trump and his felonies when they literally let a felon called Pfizer give them injections. I don't want to hear it. I won't be able to take you seriously no more. Write down this point I just made, take it to the bank, deposit it in your memory, and tell it to somebody tomorrow when they want to bring up some bullshit about Trump. Biggest racket in is the pharmaceutical industry. Yeah. Yep. Jesus is our Lord and Savior. Yeah. Jesus is the Son of God. I accept you as a Savior. Jesus, come stay in my heart. That's where he lives. He's in your heart. There are times when you hear certain people speak and you feel a spark that makes you want to continue to listen. That's because the truth, God is in the truth. And then the peace of God in you, when it hears the truth, it creates a spark. So that's how you feel a connection to certain words or certain people when they speak, because it's connecting the God in you with the God that lives in the word of truth. So that's why it's a good connection. Nanotechnology and the nanotechnology and the vaccines, yes, it is. And we know that it was designed on Epstein Island. We know Epstein is behind the vaccine. What we don't know is where it came from, because we know our scientists were trying to figure out how to create bioweapons that will kill one particular group of people. In the American situation, the target group was the blacks in America, which is why they trafficked all those kids from Haiti after the earthquake and from the Caribbean and West Africa, because they were trying to figure out a bioweapon to go after people that look like them in the United States. That's why all your favorite athletes and rappers and actors and all your favorite black people are dying every day. But everybody else is just being sterilized. But the blacks were dying because this was specifically made for them. I mean, look at all the targeted propaganda. It was only rappers that are black and black actors and black athletes that were telling you, hey, go take it. Leonardo DiCaprio didn't tell you to take it. For white people, Antonio Banderas didn't come out playing a guitar and say, El Vaccino. No, that never happened. You didn't see Jackie Chan and Jet Li kicking needles. Yeah, get the box. Yeah. No. But Juvenile made a song called Vax That Thing Up. I remember Tyler Perry had this black lady doctor, a fucking moron. She was talking about, yeah, the gangster spike proteins comes into, I said, this is, some people don't deserve, let them go. Listen, this is not medical advice, because what's done is done. We're way past that. I'm talking to you guys about the fallout and what's coming in the future. All these issues with race, that stuff is over. Their 13% is already down to 9%. So with a drop like that, we're at 3 or 4% by 2029. There is not going to be anybody to protest once they release the Epstein files and you find out the Epstein files are really the COVID files. See, that's why they can't release them. It's not about because of sex with kids and politicians. Some of these politicians are already dead. The reason they can't release them is because the vaccine just came out 4 years ago, and they're going to try to blame it on warp speed. But really, it was created in the labs beneath Epstein Island and in MIT. And think about all those universities. Why did Epstein have offices in all these different science labs on the Eastern Seaboard and in the Caribbean. And he have a science lab on his island. Why was he more connected to scientists than to politicians? I'm trying to explain why we can't release the files, because they're just going to try to use it against Trump. It's going to slow down the America First agenda to get to save our country. And it's pointless, because the people that are going to want to protest and fight about it, well, they'll be dead in 2 to 3 years. So what we have to do is just wait 3 years, and then we can let it come out. Then there won't be anybody left to complain, because they're the most aggressive with the complaints, So you gotta think about that. It's really just a timing. We just need a little bit more time to release them. Your lung cancer vaccine. I'll be skeptical about any vaccines, because as far as we know, vaccines don't exist. We've never been able to test any of them individually. Like, I can't test the ingredients before I inject myself. So really, we don't even know if they exist. You're really just having to take the word for people who are known liars. Again, Pfizer's a felon. You don't trust Trump because you said he's a felon, but I don't know. Did you trust him before they said he was a felon? I don't know. But let's make it a habit of not trusting felons. So let's not trust these pharmaceutical companies, shall we? Not all types of cancer at the moment. Yes, Trump does have a lot to do with the truth. That's the only truthful politician we've ever seen in our lifetime. DEWs, direct energy weapons, Neuralink, and BMI control neutral. And yeah, that is neural monitoring. Those are on the horizon. Yeah, you're right, Ferguson. Did you go to an all-white school? No. I went to Crenshaw High School. I went to Compton High School. I went to GAR. I went to Independence. I went to Glendale. I used to move around a lot. Diabetes. Yeah, you can't say he's a pedophile as a president because you can't name his victim. Do me a favor. Let's see here. Freelance Converse 4413. Type in the name of his victim and let's look it up and see if it's true. But if you can't, and then RJC, if you can't name the kid, whoever he harmed, then you're a piece of trash and you need to get off my page and just leave. You're not welcome, because you're going to put a jacket on somebody. Show me the paperwork. If you don't have the paperwork, to get the fuck out of here, because if you're saying somebody did something, were you there? Were you involved? It sounds like you might be projecting what you've done onto another man, because you can't tell me the name of his victims. You can't even show me any proof of anything. So I'm starting to think it's you. Anybody who's ever making up that kind of stuff, I think they're projecting, because remember what the left does is they accuse you of what they're guilty of. So that's what I see when I see people like you writing this stuff. No. They're working on a weapon that was going to get rid of specifically black people, but anybody who's a Democrat. Why do you think they told you if you don't take the vaccine, you're a white supremacist Trump supporter? So basically, all these extremely emotional blacks and gays and illegals, just to prove their loyalty to Kamala, they went out and took the shot. I mean, she did a really good job euthanizing you people. And again, I mean, that also, I think Kamala Harris helped reduce the murder rate, because a lot of the people that were criminals from those demographics, well, they've died from the vax already. So maybe some of us are alive because the person that was meant to kill us took the vaccine and has since passed away. So Kamala did her part to make America great again, if you think about it as well. And so did Biden. Remember, they pushed the vaccine on that one community, specifically. One community. And I have all the evidence in the world. I mean, I can play something for you guys right now if you guys want to see it. I can give you some examples. Just let me know. Yeah, he said that a long time ago, and we booed him because he's under the assumption that warp speed is where the vaccine came from. Only in recent years did he find out from RFK Jr. the injection that they had, those fake vaccines, were around since the early 2000s, maybe even the 90s, and we can't source it. The technology inside the liquid nanotechnology that's in there, and the creature they found, the Hydra vulgaris, once it defrosts inside your body and it starts to grow, clogging all your arteries and damaging your organs, that parasite that's growing, we don't know where it comes from. We don't know where the technology that's in those vials, we don't know where it comes from. When they look at it under a microscope, it's not human technology is what I'm saying. Not any that we can replicate. I mean, it's probably like 100 years in the future, but we don't have machines that can create machines that small. Not yet. Yeah, that's backed by Big Pharma. Absolutely. Show me the footage. Yeah, show me the footages. Sharia law starting to spread through parts of the country, like in New York, Michigan. Yeah, okay. This is my opinion on Sharia law. It'll help us fight feminism. I'm not saying we have to adopt it, but let's let the Muslims in Sharia law kick some ass for us on our behalf, and we can just sit back for the next 5 years. Think about it. Your kids are gay because of Democrat policies and liberalism. Sharia law will correct that. Your wives left your family and because they had a false sense of protection coming from the police and they can just lean on the government for money. So, and they don't, what do they need a man for? Sharia law means there's going to be less law enforcement in those same cities you just named, like New York. They're getting rid of the police. So women are going to have to, they're going to need a husband just to survive. So you'll have your wives back and you'll have your families back, and you won't have to worry about your kids being gay or confused about their sexuality, because it's not something that's going to be acceptable under Muslims and Sharia law. And remember, that's a part of the globalist agenda, and the globalists have now taken over. That's why you see the Zionists and the Israelis are all being pushed out and attacked and removed from they're going to be surgically removed from American politics within the year. Why do you think somebody like Mondami is going to be the mayor in New York? The globalists are fighting the Zionists, and it's a proxy war in between. The Zionists, they've lost. Why do you think they did something so desperate like assassinate Charlie Kirk and try to do this cover up? And you see Shapiro and Bibi, everyone's acting all weird from their group because they're guilty. It's all coming out. But the problem is the Zionist agenda is they make us just goyim slaves like we've been for the past, 50 years to them. The globalist agenda is euthanasia and depopulation. So it's like, when you think about it, death or slavery doesn't sound that bad. But then again, they're genocidal. So we know they have the capacity to euthanize us as well. The only problem is like we're exchanging out the enemy we know for the enemy that we don't know. The evil that we know versus the evil that we don't, but neither are going to be good for us. So, but that's just what's happening. And I don't necessarily know how to stop it. So I'm thinking, let's look at it from the bright side. I see the glass as half full. Islam and Sharia law will be the end of feminism. So that means as men, we'll have our families back. So I look at it. I try to look at the good in everything. No, they're not here to assimilate. They're here to destroy feminism and take over and restore normalcy to society. It doesn't get much more traditional than Islam. As American men, we love traditionalism. There's nothing more traditional than marriage. Our women reject it, but men want it. So we've been traveling outside the country to find wives, but what if we don't have to travel anymore? What if society will start to change and we might be able to have wives here again in the next, 5 to 10 years? It might take that long for things to get back in order. Yeah, men and girls bathrooms, that's what Democrats stand for. That's what they fight for. That's what they filibuster for. And they're sick. That's why we can't be friends with them. And goodbye to you too, Jay Stewart. You have a good night. Suck it easy. They're not here to assimilate. We talked about that. Bro, we're adults, Maurice. When are you fucking idiots gonna grow up? Be a man. As an adult man, the last thing you should be worried about is who likes you. You are not in high school anymore, Maurice. Grow up. That's that feminine. You're such a goddamn female with a man's name. You're such a feminine. You're just like your mother. Pathetic. What do you mean they don't like you? Who the fuck needs somebody to like them? I'm grown. Nobody likes me. I don't like anybody. I don't like nobody. Definitely don't like you, Maurice. Fuck me. Oh, they don't like who the fuck? Who cares? I don't need anyone to like me. I work. I don't need you to like me. Nobody likes you when you're a man anyway. So what's there to like? It's fucking like, oh, they don't like you. You sound like a girl. You sound like a baby idiot. What do you mean like you? Nobody has to like you. You don't have to like nobody. This is not a popularity contest. You are never going to be the prom king. You were a fucking weirdo in high school. You're weirder now. No one likes you, Maurice. Put me on that list. And I hope you can live with it because you need to grow up and be able to live with it. And guess what? You don't like me. You don't like Trump. Do you think we give two shits? You're not supposed to like us, you fucking creep. Gay as hell. You don't need to like other men. Stop liking men. You shouldn't like Trump. You shouldn't be having fantasies about Trump's wee-wee in or around your mouth and his fucking blonde hair blowing in the wind like Fabio. You should be okay with not liking men, and you should be okay with them not liking you. Grow the fuck up. You're a Republican and you follow Trump, correct? I fucking hate Republicans. I'm something else. I have conservative values. I would have said I was MAGA until I found out that that's Israel first. So because I'm America first, I guess I'm America first, but I'm not like Nick Fuentes. I'm worse. So I'm America first, but I'm America only. So if you're going to say America first with my movement, you have to say America only also. So I'm not with any of the outside anything. America first and America only. I believe in Americans first and Americans only is my priority. I've been all over the world. No other country has ever put Americans in front of their own people. So why the fuck should we? No, Maurice Henderson, I'm talking about you. It's not as bleak as you're making it seem. This mindset of a vicious cycle. This is just my opinion. Hey, if you don't supply, let it fly, right? You don't have to take in everything I'm saying. Calm down, man. I can't. It's hard to calm down. There's too much going on. It's all happening at once. And unless we are looking at things with the proper perspective, we're not going to know how to deal with them when they get worse. And I'm going to need you to come out on top on the other side too. I can't, what kind of society am I going to have if I'm the only one here? I need you guys to make better decisions because making poor decisions based on emotion is how I lost my home city in LA. It's why I had to evacuate. Your bad decisions affect my bottom line. And that's why I need to make sure you're also aware and you're following what's going on and you're up to date. That's why you think I sit here on YouTube and I'm do 4 or 5 different segments every single day and I post them. Go look at go to my history, subscribe to my channel, follow my channel, and just look at my body of work. I literally make all my own episodes. I do all my own news. I'm doing it for you more so than me. I need you to understand the next time someone tries to get you to take a fake vaccine or convince you that there's a virus going around and I need you to know better. So that's why I'm here. I'm here to train your mind to the best of my ability. Sir, can you please tell me if you're against Christianity? No, I'm a Christian. Why would I be against Christianity? We need to start a new movement. I have. We're America first, but we're America only. So that, because some people don't want to go as far as saying that. I'll do it. I'll go as far as saying that. You can't. Okay, Jimmy, if you can type in the chat what I am grossly misinformed about, I'd be more than happy to read it out loud and we'll see about that. Black unemployment is at a record high. What else is fucking new? What else is new? Remember, they feel like you owe them. They want revenge for slavery. So they're trying to hit you in your pockets by forcing you to take care of them and their kids. But it puts them in a vicious cycle of poverty and murder. That's why they have to live in certain areas. And they don't want to be Americans. They want to be communists. By be communists, that means they want the state to take care of them, tell them what to do, ration out their foods, give them EBT, give them government cheese, tell them what to do and subsidize their housing, the same way they do in Cuba or any other socialist communist nation. They don't want to be independent. They don't want to be free. People don't understand, it might sound bad to say it out loud, but a lot of people like slavery. They love it. They want structure. Slavery was structure. Someone telling you what to do, where to be, what to wear, when to eat, when to go to bed. Why do you think so many people volunteer to go to prison? You think prison just happens to people that don't want to go? No. Prison is where people who want to be slaves go on purpose. I watched thousands of hours of body cam footage. Do you know like 99% of these people could have just not went to jail if they would have just not purposely did some idiotic bullshit they were going to get caught doing? They made a conscientious choice. It's not like they accidentally ended up in jail. Let's think about who we're talking about here. Anyone black, even if you got money, go to Africa and act like you running shit and see what happens. Man, hey, them Africans gonna go upside your head with a sandal. So go try it if you want to. But then again, these are people that are spoiled children. You know, they're never gonna. They hate their mom and dad until they need mom and dad. That's the exact dynamic we have here in the United States, and that's why so many of them can't get married or be in relationships because they're kids. There's nothing manly or adult about them. They live in a perpetual state of mental infancy, which is unfortunate. But if you're hearing me and you understand what I'm saying, you know this is true. They're not going to agree. But the other non-13% of the population, well, the non-9% of the population, they're going to agree. We all see the same things. It's just been politically incorrect to say it. So I'll say it. How about that? Lies. The only people counted are the ones looking for a job. Man, I don't know. Black man claiming people wanted slavery. Oh, well, I'm not black, but they do want slavery. What do you think welfare is? Slavery. They give you hoops to jump through every month so that you can get your rations. You're not free to decide how much you're going to make or where you're going to live or how you're going to live. The government is telling you what to do. So the government is essentially the master. And then the subsidized housing you lived in those bad neighborhoods, that's the plantation. And you live on the plantation at the mercy of the master, which is the government. And if you ever run afoul of the government, they will kick you off the plantation and you'll no longer be a slave of theirs. You have to go be a slave of someone else. It's literally akin to slavery. Begging, matter of fact, living on welfare in the United States actually goes against what it is to be an American. One thing about being an American is freedom. But with freedom comes responsibility. Freedom doesn't mean you get to just go do whatever you want to and just fuck around all day. No, freedom means responsibility. That means you're responsible for yourself. You're responsible for your family. You're not depending on the government you're depending on your government to be responsible for taking care of you. That's why you see all these people freaking out over EBT. It's like, those people aren't even Americans. They don't even want to take care of themselves. And that defeats the whole purpose of living in the United States. Go to a socialist communist country. This is the country for people that want to work. This is for people that believe in freedom. You can't be free if you're being fed by another man or the government. You know, you talk all this shit about Trump, but then you got to nibble on his dick and beg for SNAP and EBT benefits. Well, that's not freedom to me. It's kind of gay. All the begging is gay. Let's just be honest. Go to Africa being stupid. Don't forget, they don't want that bullshit. Yeah, they don't. Yeah, well, think about it. They sold off the people that they were at war with who were weak and who were gay. So the Africans basically turned the people who they didn't want in their populations, they sold them. That's why I don't understand. If you're in the United States and you think you came from Africa, why aren't you asking the people that put you in slavery in Africa for reparations? Why would you ask a person that bought you and gave you a home? Wouldn't the person that turned you into the slave be the person you would want reparations from? Oh, it requires an IQ over 70 to figure that out. Gotcha. Everybody, please destroy this guy, Maurice. He's an idiot in the chat. But this is practice for us. And listen, follow my page because I need you guys to come in here and we have to do our part to mentally destroy all these liberals and Democrats with their nonsense. We have to, as a collective, show them the light with our words. So please, if you guys don't mind following the channel, follow the page. I have tons of material like this. I'm on live now. I have like 4 of the subjects tonight. Let me read them to you. I have other topics coming up tonight that I was going to bring up. Let's see here. I was going to go over Lizzo talking about how she's mad about Nicki Minaj, even though that's stupid. We're going to go over cloud seeding and all the floods in California today. I have the Dave Chappelle stand with Israel, but also the MLK comparison and how MLK was a piece of shit and destroyed these people in his own country. There's a few things to go over tonight. I was trying to get them all in, but we'll see what we can do. Bruh, good defense. Appreciate it. Yeah, I'm going to need you to be a little bit more specific, Jimmy Coker. Now, I've already asked you once to be more specific. You're making yourself look like an asshole and an idiot by asking me the same question over again or making such blanket statements. I'm going to need you to explain yourself and add some details so we can read your comment. You posting the same thing over again means you don't really have an argument, which means you're an idiot. And in that case, you're a perfect Democrat. Congratulations. You've won. Maybe Kamala needs you. Okay. The time of MAGA grift is over, dude. Find me, MAGA creator. Bro, what do you mean? There's no, listen, make America great again is it's where I live in America. Why wouldn't I want America to be great again? It's crazy. You can be a gangbanger and be proud of your gang, which literally just terrorizes and killing people from your own racial background. You can be proud of everything on earth, but you're not allowed to be proud of your country if you're an American. You can be proud to be Mexican. You can wave a Mexican flag, but you can't wave an American flag and be proud to be an American. Fuck you. Those days, that's what's over. That grift is over where people are ashamed to be white. They're ashamed to be American. They're ashamed to be Christian. You're supposed to be ashamed because a bunch of blacks and gays are going to say, oh my God, you shouldn't want, man. Listen, ignore those fucking people. Ignore them. Ignore them. Their whole job is to just demoralize you so that you can be as insecure and have an inferiority complex the way they do. But you're better than them. So act like it. Hold your head high. Stop letting idiots and fucking phantoms on the internet. Some of these accounts are people in Korea just talking to you in English and trying to demoralize you. And you're humoring. Some of these people don't even really exist in real life. They're not real people. They're just comedy. You don't even know what country they're coming from. Elon Musk added that feature to X. Some of your favorite trolls are based in fucking Vietnam and the Philippines. You're like, wait a minute, I'm arguing with a 15-year-old in Cambodia? Why? Don't listen to all these people in the comments. Don't do it. Some people have something good, but listen, you take the good stuff, you throw away the rest. That's how it works. Okay, you don't got to eat the seeds and the core of the fruit. Eat the part that you need. Throw the rest away. Stop having such thin skin. Stop getting so easily offended and so emotional. Cut that out. You're better than that. You're another Candace Owens. God willing. God will. I'll be honest. That's my best compliment of the night. I want to thank you, Jimmy. I appreciate that. I really do, Jimmy. Man, Jimmy. It's crazy. Your parents named you after a condom, probably because it broke in that alley for that $15 crack rock. And then they named you after it because you're a miracle. You're a miracle. You just gave me a great compliment. I appreciate you, Jimmy. Thank you. See, and then you said you're welcome. I appreciate, you know what, Jimmy? You're all right with me, bro. You're polite. I like polite people. Thank you, Paul. I appreciate it. Scorpion, are you returning? 2 minutes ago, he said he's not MAGA because it's pro-Israel. He's America first with the racism from Nick Fuentes. Oh, no. I'm way further away than Nick Fuentes. He's a progressive compared to Rico. Yeah, mine. I'm way more extreme. So yeah, and besides, I think Nick's even cucked a little bit now. He's starting to get too much attention, and now he's afraid of the consequences of everybody hating him, especially being a target. And then he's making a lot of enemies by going after the wrong people. See, the way I look at life is the way I look at war. In war, it's more so about who are your allies than it is who's your enemy. I'd prefer alliances, but it just depends on what I have to sacrifice for us to be friends. If I have to say I stand with Israel, or if I have to stand with another country besides the United States of America, if you want me to pledge allegiance to another land besides my own, we can't be friends. We just can't. I'm sorry. You keep your money. Listen, there's a dollar menu right here where I live. I like being poor. Even though I'm not poor, I'd rather be poor than take a bunch of, think about it. I've been rich. I've been in business on my own for many years now. Money isn't everything. Some people live off of the internet. They live off of the views. They live off YouTube. They need those checks to come in or they're screwed. I'm screwed with or without the checks. I'm not even monetized. I have a couple of sponsors, people that pay me to do ad reads, and I advertise for them. They've been getting such good results. Now that's working out for me. And then people do super chats sometimes. They send me donations to my PayPal. I didn't even post any of that stuff today because I just started a new Cash App. I'm not doing this for money. I do this because I need more people to feel proud of their country and proud of who they are. Do you know how many people would have not been pressured into taking the vaccine because they were afraid to lose their job if they just understood that the Constitution stood for them, so they should stand for the Constitution? My friends that took that shot who are Americans, they didn't believe in the Constitution, even though they should have known it was going to be illegal in these. When we go to court, this was all they were going to get. They could be able to sue these companies, get their money. They're going to get, they're going to win big. But you have to believe in the Constitution, and you have to understand that the Constitution believes in you. But it requires both. The Constitution is just a piece of paper without men with guns who are willing to die and kill behind it. It's just a piece of paper. So what I'm doing is hopefully my words will create more of these men who understand how valuable that document is, because we saw what happens when you ignored it during the lockdown. There's no way you could have been a constitutionalist and still went out and said, you know what, I don't want to lose my job. You should have known that because of the Constitution, you couldn't lose your job without them being sued to hell if they try to force you to take a medical procedure. That's like somebody saying, Rico, I know you love this job. You're making $200,000 a year, but to keep it, I'm gonna need you to go to the hospital. We need your index finger removed, and then you can keep your job. And guess what? If you don't, then you're fired. And then I got to go home and tell my family, hey, hun, I know we got kids in private school. We got to pay these Lexus payments and shit. They want me to remove my finger. I wonder how many people, their wives would have said, you have another finger. You have an extra finger on the other hand. I think we should. I wonder how many people's friends and family, I wonder how many people's mothers would have been like, well, maybe you should take the finger off. The money's good. I wonder how many people would have let you remove. That's a medical procedure also. Except the vax is deadlier than removing your index finger. I wonder how many people would have let them remove a body part, because it's still a surgery. It's a medical procedure, it's a surgery, it's the same thing. I wonder how many people would have let a body part be removed to keep these jobs in the name of public safety. I wonder. I guess we're not going to know until we talk about it. Jimmy, when you make a statement, I need you to give details, my friend. I've already said this 10 times. I don't know. I remember I said the crack rock and they named you after a condom that broke, but you don't have to keep proving me right, Jimmy. Why don't you tell me exactly how? Especially money attacking candidates. Yeah, like Tim Pool, and I think Valhalla says something about, I'm like, bro, she's a YouTuber. Why do you guys care what she says? Why not just ignore her? Block her channel. Don't listen to her content. Do you? Why are you listening to her if you don't like her, if you think she's wrong? This doesn't make any sense. I'm poor here in Southern California, brother. Let me tell you, everybody in Southern California is poor. It's too expensive, and it's a ripoff. I moved to Houston. When you see how much cheaper things are the rest of the country, and you're like, why am I paying a premium to live in California and I live around homeless people that take pisses and shit in front of my building every night? Because I live in downtown LA. I lived on 7th and Spring. Yeah, it's a ripoff. I know we think California is the only place in the world, the way America thinks the United States is the only country in the world, but we're wrong. There's other beautiful states and there's other beautiful countries. Just like living in California is optional, so is living in the United States if you're not a patriot. You can choose to live somewhere else. You sue after you lose your job and home and can't feed your family. Yeah, you can go do another job. There's other jobs, right? Yeah, you might not be making $200,000 a year, but you'll make enough to feed your family. Because think about it, if you took that shot and you die in 3 years from the shot, well, how are you going to feed your family then, dumbass? Maybe I shouldn't call you a dumbass. Maybe you're somebody who's speaking out of fear. There's nothing to fear besides fear itself. And if you're dead, you can't help your family anyway. Maybe you just didn't understand that. So I didn't mean to insult you. You probably don't know any better. Maybe I just don't have the spirit of fear in me, so I don't understand fearful men. But maybe I should be more considerate. My ex told me I should be, but I told her to go to hell too. So maybe I'm not learning. So free Palestine. Palestine is free now. There's still people dying over there, but the world is already recognizing a second state, which is why they're attacking places like the globalists are attacking places like in Australia. And that's why the Zionists are attacking Australia and setting up like false flags, because they voted for a 2-state solution. They voted to to recognize Palestine as a separate state, and they're going to have enforcement to protect them. So they're on the road to being free, and we should all be happy about that. Less death is what we all should celebrate. Less death. Let's not be great. Let's not be ungrateful. Also, Trump's not their president, so it's not Trump's responsibility. It's not my tax dollars' responsibility. Trump trying to save those people is him doing that out of the kindness of his heart. I didn't ask him to do that. And he doesn't owe them that. He doesn't, he doesn't owe anybody outside the United States any goddamn thing. You understand that? He doesn't owe you. So be grateful if he does anything at all. How are you going to get a job after jumping on the dumb train? That's a very good point. If you're dumb enough to let them coerce you into taking a experimental injection that you don't know what it does, then you're on the dumb train, and a lot of companies won't hire you anyway because you have something called a pre-existing condition now. That's why your insurance company is going to drop you. That's unfortunate. Riverside County at 66. My husband of 30 years left me 3 years ago. Don't have the money to leave. Listen, it's called sacrifice. Humans come from other countries with $0 in their pockets every single day. So that means with $0 in your pocket, you can also do the same. You know, to live where you want to live and the lifestyle you want to live is something we call a luxury. And all luxuries must be afforded. If you can't afford it, then you don't get to live where you want and how you want to live. Sometimes you have to downsize. You downsize, you go somewhere else that you can't afford. There are very cheap places in this country. It might not be ideal. Maybe you don't want to live in Alabama. Maybe you don't want to live in Mississippi. But if that's where your budget's going to permit, then you have to migrate. 500 years ago, we lived on a dry lake bed. If we lived on a lake bed and it dried up, do we sit there and complain about the lake bed and how it used to be so wet, now it's dry? Or do we just pack the fuck up and look for greener pastures? There's nothing new under the sun. The same rules would apply now. Yeah, I found you. I've been saying this for years. Glad all my sons listen. No poison in my house. Chuck, you did the right thing. You were a guiding light for your family, and I'm proud of you. If anybody didn't tell you thank you for saving your family, let me be the first, because in the future, it's going to come down. And I'm going to propose this in the future for those of us who saved our friends and family from this, and we fought against this in real time, and we have records of it because, well, they kicked us off of social media, but we can still see some of our old posts. Then I want people to be recognized for their bravery, and it wasn't easy. This was the largest mass propaganda campaign in human history. Goebbels would have jizzed all over himself if he would have seen a massive amounts of propaganda, and it lasted for years. Remember, the lockdown didn't end for a lot of people until the Russians invaded the Ukraine, and that was in 2022. And then all of a sudden, that's when it came. The vaccine push stopped, and the lockdown ended. Not for California, but for everybody else. And then, it just shows you how it was fake in the first place. No, Trump doesn't need a war to stay in office. And even if there is a war, he wouldn't stay in office. That's not how it works, dipshit. Jesus, Maurice, what? You're like the gift that keeps on giving. Are you going to say anything that's truthful or accurate at all? Or are you just going to say a bunch of nonsense? The insurance company won't cover vax damage. Of course they won't. It's a pre-existing condition now because you signed a waiver when you took the shot saying that you understand that this is the unknown. You understand that they can't give you informed consent because they don't have enough information. You signed off on it. Therefore, they're not liable. So you have to deal with that. Unfortunately, my son, his wife, and 4 kids under 10 moved into my home. He got his hours cut to maybe 16 hours. You have enough people in your house to figure out a way to work. There, again, you're not going to live in the lap of luxury, but as a family unit, you guys can figure out how to pull together and take care of each other. That's what family is. If you guys are not willing to work together, then you guys are not a family. You guys are just a bunch of fucking people that just happen to be related, but you guys aren't a family. You need to be a unit. First things first, move somewhere that's cheaper that you can afford and work and build yourself back up. There's no shame in starting over. There's no shame in that. I've had to do it several times. Trust me. He's not pro-war. Will give me an example and stop talking shit. Why don't you make me stop talking shit, Maurice? You want the address? Pull up. And let's see if you can make me. And I love the live stream that. Lady, if you're leaving, leave. You're forgetting one of the most important things about humans. We adapt. Abso-fucking-lutely. People just pretend like everything's going to stay the same forever. That's not how it works. The sun doesn't always shine forever. Sometimes you have to go find greener pastures. You don't just get to do what you want, how you want. That's not how life works. Sometimes you got to move around. That's where humans, we adapt. We have to adapt. And we don't always change our environment. Sometimes we don't change the environment. We will just change the environment we are at. We'll just find a new environment and we'll go there. You have to do that. You can't just get too complacent and too comfortable. I did not hear Trump say that, bro. Post the link of Trump saying Bibi should get the Nobel Peace Prize. I think you're making that up. And you look black from your picture. You guys have a strong history of lying a lot too. So, which is unfortunate because I can't take you seriously or just take your word for it. And then when I look it up and I find out you're lying, well, now you're just increasing and verifying more stereotypes about you. So you're not really helping. So why don't you fact check yourself before you post bullshit? Because you're representing your own people. You're just embarrassing you. You're embarrassing all of you. It's a collective punishment, actually. On Dead Homies, I'm up sucking on Charlie right now. Okay, freaky ass little dude. I like that you sucking on Charlie, man. That's good, bro. Man, hey, why don't you throw Tamir Rice and Trayvon Martin? Give them some head too. Shit, you sucking on Ghost Dick. Maybe find Patrick Swayze too, man. Whatever you're doing, you little freak, go for it. Read everything I ask you to help me understand. I'm literally just let me know. I'm too old to fight. I send flowers. I'd appreciate it. I like flowers. I'm allergic to a lot of them, but you can send me some fake ones. That's fine. Wow, LMF, that's funny. On your dead, you gonna suck your dead homies off too? Man, you're a busy guy, bro, but you're a giver. There's nothing wrong with that. We need more people like you, a fluffer. But you'll fluff everybody, which is important. Some people be like, oh no, I don't like the way he smells, or I'm not attracted to him. But if you'll just fluff anything, then shit, you're valued. You're like a party favor. We need more guys like you to take one for the team, sir. I know 6 people that died from the shot personally, none from COVID-19. There is no such thing as COVID-19. The data has came out that the whole thing was just propaganda. It was all fake. There was no virus. I told people that in 2020 and I was kicked off of everything. I figured it out once the homeless people didn't die, and I live in downtown LA. All the homeless people survived. So if they're not dying, then who is? So yeah. Listen, I'm gonna go ahead. I have these other topics that I want to bring up and talk about. So I'd appreciate if you guys jump back on live with me in about 10 minutes. I'm gonna go fill up, go get some more water, and I'm gonna have to load everything up again. And but if you guys wouldn't mind joining me, please like the video and subscribe to the channel. That way I can get your input. Whether you like me or don't like me, I do appreciate all your input. And you, Mr. Freaky Man, that, do all that stuff with your dead homies, I like you too. You should just join just because we need soldiers like you that's in it for the good fight, You're definitely a morale boost if what you said you do to the dead homies is true. So, all right, I'll see you guys in a second. And remember, America first, America only.
I've been needing to find a new apartment, which has not been easy with credit as bad as mine. Luckily, I found cosigning.com. They connected me with a cosigner who helped me get my dream apartment for me and my dog. I just paid a small fee and was able to move in fast. Get the cosigner you need for the apartment you want. Check out cosigning.com today.